This is the fourth session of a program designed to teach you how to have mental and emotional fitness. In session 2 of this program, we talked about why having truly effective emotional management is so important to everyday life. How if you examine all the things that go wrong in the lives of individuals, in relationships, in families and schools, and our society as a whole, you find that most of those things are either defined by or caused, directly or indirectly, by one or more persons generating more emotion than is necessary or helpful, what we call a dysfunctional amount of emotion, and what they do because of it or in their attempt to deal with it. We noted that millions of people have anger problems, millions of others suffer from anxiety disorders and even phobias of some sort. Millions more suffer from depression and the shame and anxiety that combine into what we call low self-esteem. And millions complain about being stressed out, and many others who are hard on themselves when things don't go as they'd like. We showed a list of behaviors and problems that individuals, families, and schools and society have to contend with. Each and every one of these behaviors or problems can be traced back to someone generating a dysfunctional amount of emotion in response to their life events. We said that that's why truly effective emotional management is considered the first and most important of all life skills we have to master to be as functional as possible and to have the kind of life we really want. We listed 4 cognitive life skills that would give you truly effective emotional management. They are, first, to learn to have unconditional self-acceptance, or USA, and unconditional other acceptance, or UOA. Second, developing what is called an internal locus of control. Third, to learn to recognize and correct irrational thinking in yourself and others. And fourth, to develop a step-by-step approach to potentially troublesome life events that helps you get into the best possible cognitive and emotional place, which then would allow you to make the best possible behavioral or lifestyle choice for yourself and others. This 4-step approach is called the ABC system of cognitive, emotional, and behavioral self-management and self-improvement. Becoming proficient in these 4 skills is called having mental and emotional fitness. In the remaining part of this presentation, we'll talk about how to develop unconditional self-acceptance and unconditional other acceptance, and why they are important. The simple answer to it is the feeling of shame. Shame is the feeling people generate when they believe they haven't lived up to their own or others' expectations. Life is ripe with opportunities for people to arrive at that conclusion and generate a dysfunctional amount of shame. This is especially true when people are young and trying to live up to so many expectations. Expectations of their parents, teachers, coaches, friends, and teammates, and perhaps even their religion. As adults, the expectations of a spouse can be added to the list, and the expectations that go with becoming a parent and having in-laws, neighbors, bosses, or fellow employees where they work. Some young people are even repeatedly told on a regular basis that they should be ashamed of themselves. This only adds to the likelihood that they'll generate a greater frequency, intensity, and duration of shame than would be helpful or necessary. Shame can be either a primary or a secondary disturbance, or even both at the same time. For example, shame can be a primary disturbance behind alcohol and drug use and abuse, or even suicide. It can be the primary feeling people try to seek relief from by using and abusing alcohol or drugs, or by attempting to take their own lives. It's also a driving force behind any effort to avoid failing, be it in a classroom or the outside world. However, it can also be a secondary disturbance. First, it can make people want to keep what they think, feel, say, or do a secret. Many unhealthy things are done because people have and keep secrets. The problem with keeping secrets is that what someone thinks, feels, says, or does can go unchallenged. When irrational thoughts go unchallenged, sheer repetition and rehearsal can cause simple opinions to start to feel like facts. For example, someone might truly believe they're stupid just from simply repeating it to themselves over and over again without any challenge from others. Hearing it from others would just add to the problem. They can also start to believe that what they think or believe is cast in stone and that it can't be changed. That can be a problem. Second, shame can also make someone less likely to seek, ask for, or accept help that might be available to them. They might think it reflects badly on them that they need help, or that it would if they asked for or accepted it. The third problem is that many people often attempt to protect themselves from real or imagined scrutiny and criticism by others, and the shame they generate in response to that by becoming angry. Once they do, they're even less likely to be willing to acknowledge anything is wrong, and less likely to be willing to work on fixing anything that is. Anger is one of the toughest feelings to get people to let go of once they plug into it. The reason is that it gives them a false sense of power, righteousness, permission, and protection. The more powerless someone feels, the more anger will appeal to them. As for the false sense of righteousness, consider this. Ever met an angry person who thought they were wrong? People say and do all kinds of inappropriate things to others when they're angry because it gives them a false sense of permission. An obvious example would be those who abuse their spouses or children, or those who commit acts of violence against others in anger. And as long as someone stays angry, they don't have to feel other feelings, like shame, guilt, anxiety, depression, that they really don't like feeling. Some use anger like a drug. When they start to feel anxious, ashamed, guilty, or depressed, it's as if they shoot themselves up with anger just to avoid such feelings. Dr. Ellis used to sum up the role of shame as a secondary disturbance by saying, shame blocks change. Part of the solution to all these problems is to teach people to have unconditional self-acceptance and unconditional other acceptance. If we want people to be open and honest about what they really think, feel, or do, and be willing to work on such things to make their lives better, we need to make it safe for them to be so and to do so. One way to do that is by trying to logically convince people that anything they think, feel, say, or do is perfectly understandable, given what they've been through in their lives, given their unique history or string of life events. That does not mean that what they think, feel, say, or do is healthy for them, or that it will be acceptable to others. It may not be. What it simply means is they will never be the first or last person in human history to think, feel, say, or do something. No matter what they think, feel, say, or do, they will always have a lot of company out there. For example, if someone becomes an alcoholic, that certainly wouldn't be healthy or acceptable to others around them. It certainly wouldn't make it easier for them to have the kind of life they really want. However, they certainly wouldn't be the first human being in history to make a mistake with alcohol, and unfortunately they probably won't be the last. If someone became unexpectedly pregnant, it may not be a healthy thing for her at this point in her life, and she and others might find it totally unacceptable. However, she certainly wouldn't be the first person in human history to make the mistake of having unprotected sex when they didn't want to get pregnant, and she certainly won't be the last. About half of all pregnancies are unplanned or unintended. The point is, the many mistakes people make are simply part of being human. If you put someone else through exactly the same life events that we each have been through, chances are they'd end up pretty much in the same place, cognitively and emotionally, and perhaps even behaviorally. And they'd probably end up doing many of the same things and make many of the same mistakes. We all do the best we can at the time, given what we've been through and the circumstances we find ourselves in. We're all what Dr. Ellis used to call FHBs, or fallible human beings, who at times think, feel, say, and do things that make our lives worse instead of better. Hopefully, people would logically come to realize that whatever they and others think, feel, say, or do is really understandable and nothing to be ashamed of. It may not be healthy or acceptable to others, but it is understandable. And beating up on themselves won't help. And hiding what they think, feel, or do from others, or being reluctant to acknowledge it to themselves or others, just makes it harder to fix. People can develop unconditional other acceptance by taking this same attitude toward what others think, feel. They can condemn the deed, but don't have to condemn the do. In the 70s, there was a popular song by Joe South. It went, "Before you accuse, criticize, or abuse, walk a mile in my shoes." That's good advice for everyone, and it could help someone learn to have unconditional other acceptance. There are many benefits from developing unconditional other acceptance. First, others who are struggling are more likely to respond to us and reach out to us. Second, we are less likely to take many things they say and do personally. Third, a big plus for us, partly because of that, is that we generate less emotion in ourselves. This in turn makes it easier to work with struggling people and allows us to hang in there longer for them, longer than we might have otherwise. This concludes today's session. Next time, we'll talk about the second of 4 cognitive life skills, developing an internal locus of control. In subsequent sessions, we'll talk about how to recognize and correct irrational thinking in yourself and others. And then you'll learn a step-by-step approach to life situations that will allow you to get into the best possible cognitive and emotional place to make the best behavioral choice or lifestyle choice for yourself and others. Remember that you can find most of what we talk about at www.itsjustanevent.com. And you can read about how to develop mental and emotional fitness in the book entitled It's Just an Event, It's Your Choice How You Want to Feel by Ray Mathis. That book is available at Amazon.com, from www.itsjustanevent.com, and at publishamerica.com online bookstore.